Hello everyone, my name is Mrs. Fraser and this is just a short video to provide some advice and guidance for how to effectively support your children with independent study. So that is as they're preparing for their exams, but even before that, getting them into the habits of studying at home and revising so that they are successful in those exams and also feel happy going into those exams and well prepared. So probably all recognise um, the situation where the child, or your son, your daughter, the students kind of feel overwhelmed by what's being asked of them, and that can sometimes come back at us as adults as shutting down or perhaps being quite defiant or not wanting to engage in a conversation around revision or a suggestion that you might not understand what they're going through. And often that is just a reflection of them feeling very overwhelmed and not really knowing where to start and to if you've asked about what they might be revising that afternoon or that evening or what exams are coming up, processing that information and thinking about things in that kind of logical way can be quite a difficult step and quite a difficult thing for the young person to do when they are thinking about all of the exams that they have coming up. Um, so I guess it's just acknowledging that and knowing that sometimes the resistance that you might get or the high emotions that you might get is not necessarily personal, and it's not pushing you back as a parent or a carer, but often it's a reflection of themselves and not really knowing how to cope and how to manage that. So this is about giving you some tips in how to support them to do that. The first is based around a revision timetable. And again, quite a simple strategy, but supporting your son or your daughter to think about how they might plan their time for the week ahead. And this needs to be a really realistic document and a reflection of the week. So, if they have other responsibilities, if they're visiting grandparents or they look after younger brothers or sisters, or they play football or they go to church, those things need to be included in the timetable so that there is a realistic overview of what can be achieved in a week and also where some compromises might need to be made. So, if they are saying that they're seeing their friends every night for 2 hours, then this is a way to have some conversations around, well, where do we find that time back? Where else are we going to build in that time? And you can see that it's split into kind of 25-minute slots. And again, that's all really that they need to be doing in one block. So after 25 minutes, there can be a break, 5-10 minutes, a comfort break, and an opportunity to have a conversation about the progress that they've made in that session. When they're structuring that revision timetable, our advice is to prioritise the subjects that are more difficult. We have a tendency to go to where we feel most comfortable and what we might find most easy. And so we might spend more time revising those subjects where we already know that we're going to be successful. We like that kind of confirmation that we're doing well. What we would advise is really prioritise the subjects where more work needs to be done and more emphasis needs to be put on that. And again, you can have those conversations with them. The other thing to say around this is to make it a kind of joint document. So those gentle nudges around, it says on the timetable that you're going to do this on Monday. How are you getting on with that? Just keeping them accountable to the timetable. And if you've constructed that timetable together, then it's more easy to keep them accountable to that. So these are just gentle conversations, gentle nudges, gentle reminders. If there are places where you can put the timetable so it's visible to everybody, maybe that's a shared WhatsApp group, or maybe it's just on the fridge or on the back of a door. Again, that kind of visual reminder that we're supporting you in this, and we want to help you get to that point. Once that timetable's filled in, you'll then have an overview of what that week looks like, and again, um, where they might need more support. So if you know that they've put science in on a Wednesday night, for example, but you know that they find science quite difficult, they might need more encouragement and support to do that. So the revision timetable is the first way in which you can support at home, and again, doing that on a weekly basis and reflecting on the things that have gone well. The other thing to say is that we know that learners are more successful when they are able to think reflectively about the progress that they're making with their learning and with their study. We call this metacognition. So being able to be metacognitive means that you have um, a range of knowledge, a set of knowledge, but also you have some skills as well, helping you to successfully move through study. So the knowledge of task that you see at the first point on this cycle is about um, the revision strategy that they're going to do, or the subject that they're going to study. So if we say here that the task is history and a particular topic in history, then thinking about what do they already know about that subject. And again, a conversation there around it. Says on your revision timetable you're doing history paper 1 tonight. What do you already know about history paper 1? What's the topic? Tell me about that. That doesn't mean you need to know it, but they will have that opportunity to talk through what they already know. The knowledge of strategies can be the revision strategies that they are going to use. That could be flashcards, that could be a mind map, that could be developing their answers and their ideas, linking ideas together. We are going to share with the students a revision booklet, which has got a raft of these strategies in there, and we can send that out on class chats too. But then asking them, okay, so which revision strategy are you going to use tonight to help you to revise paper 1? What does that look like? How will you know that you've done that well? And then that knowledge of self is that recognition of how they feel about that subject. So is this something that they feel quite anxious about, quite worried about? Do they feel quite confident in their knowledge of this? Do they know how well they did in their PPE, in their mock exam, and what confidence has that given them? Do they know where their areas of weakness and areas of strength are? So there are this is a framework for a conversation really to support them in developing that metacognitive knowledge. Alongside that, they need to think about how they're going to plan that revision session. They should be thinking about how well they are progressing through that strategy, so monitoring their progress throughout those 25 minutes. And then at the end, evaluating whether they've made progress from last time. Have they remembered more? Have they been able to do the question perhaps, or the task more easily than they did it last time? Or where are their gaps? Where do they still need to find out more? And again, going through that process of reflection will help them to better organise their time in the future, but allows them that metacognitive regulation as well. So there are ways in which you can support with this through conversation and through questions that you might ask. So what we've done here is organise those elements of knowledge of task, knowledge of strategies, and knowledge of self, and organise those into that cycle of regulation. So how are they going to plan? How are they going to monitor during the revision time? And how are they going to evaluate? And here are a set of questions that you can use at those phrases, at those stages. Now, you don't necessarily need to use all of these all of the time, but it's just a framework to help have that conversation, which is a really supportive conversation because it will help them to be better at revising and help them to make positive steps going into future revision sessions. So things like in that first row, what's your plan? What's going to be the best use of these 25 minutes? What will success look like? How will you know if you've been successful in that? Is there anything I can help you with? Again, really supportive. Is there anything that you need your teacher for? Where do you need to get your resources from? How are you feeling going into this revision session? Are you feeling motivated? Have we removed any distractions? We know that they are more likely to be successful in remembering through their revision if they've removed any distractions like their phone or any music. And then it might be kind of halfway through that revision session, just knocking on the door or giving them a nudge and saying, have you got everything that you need? How are you getting on? How is this building on what you already know? Are you managing to remain focused? Have you kept your phone distractions? So again, just reminding them of those good habits that will help them to be successful. And then at the end, did you achieve your goal? How can you improve next time? If you were going to revise this subject again, would you use this same strategy? If you've used flashcards, is there another strategy you could use next time? And what might you do differently next time? So again, this isn't about you knowing the subject. It's not about knowing the exams, but it's about those supportive conversations Firstly, so the young person, your child, knows that they are supported, and you can show that in a really concrete way, in a tangible way. But equally, very, very helpful conversation prompts that will develop their metacognitive ability, which in turn will lead to better outcomes. As I mentioned, we have this booklet for revision strategies that we will send out on Clash Charts, and this has a raft of revision strategies in there and walks them through how to use them effectively. But again, just to show you some of the revision strategies that they can use, looking at past papers, self-quizzing, thinking about the vocabulary and using vocabulary to explain ideas or knowledge. These are the things that they can be using. And the quote there that is on the front of this booklet, again, just re-emphasizes the point that the earlier they start, the better, really. So this is about preparation. It should feel hard and challenging, and there's nothing to be ashamed of from that or to shy away from. We want them to be working hard and to feel that sense of success that comes from doing that. I hope that's been useful. As always, please do get in touch with us if we can help. Um, and we wish your young people, obviously, all the luck in the world in their upcoming exams. Thank you.